Comrade Major. I'm falling.
What the shit? Fuck. Oh, fuck.
Atomic Heart is a game that always looked bizarre to me, but in a good way, and always made me want to play it because of that. Set in an alternate version of the 1950s, Atomic Heart takes place in the Soviet Union, in which robots and other technologies have gone rogue. It's like BioShock meets Wolfenstein meets Cyberpunk, and it all meshes very well. However, while Atomic Heart is good, it's not great, as it falls short in many aspects. But let's talk about it. Hi guys, DPX here, reviewing today Atomic Heart. Now before we get started, you know what to do. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell, leave a comment, or I will go rogue on you.
The monster in the light. Dangerous.
Starting off with the good, Atomic Heart is simply just stunning. It seriously has to be one of the best looking games on the new gen consoles. I don't know what the game is like on PS4 or Xbox One, but on PS5 and Xbox Series, it looks amazing. But it's more than just the visuals, as the little particle effects on this game and every little detail in like everything makes this seem like a game that technically cannot work on last gen consoles. Don't ask me how this game is on last gen consoles though. In addition to the visuals, Atomic Heart is open world, and I'd say the open world is very nice. There aren't really any side quests you can do, which is a bit of an issue, but I honestly think it is worth going around the world because of just how good it looks. Now there are many reasons why maybe I wouldn't want to go around the open world, but I'll get into those later. The weapons are also really cool. There are many guns and axes that you can use, and they all feel very satisfying, not to mention the music. From the little jingle you hear throughout the game, to the music that plays during boss fights or whatever, I can see Atomic Heart's soundtrack get nominated for Best Score in Music at the Game Awards. Yeah, early prediction. Not to mention, it's Mick Gordon behind it, so of course it slaps. Lastly, this is probably gonna sound weird, but I like the weirdness in this game. Watching the trailers, it looked really weird, and I wanted to see how weird it got. And when it got weird, it got really fucking weird, but kind of in an endearing way.
Okay. Nice TV. What's on?
Cartoons. Have a seat and watch.
What the hell are you?
Regarding
Shush.
the reports,
Your beloved
I've
Sechenov,
heard
son.
about
I
the
want you to
internal
watch closely.
malfunction.
Although there was a lot of good in Atomic Heart, there are many things I'm mixed on. For one, the dialogue. I've heard a lot of criticism towards the dialogue for this game, so you might have expected me to put it in the bad. And understandably so, because the dialogue is very cringy and inconsistent, as sometimes the game is trying to be a little too hard to be edgy with its dialogue, but then our main character will say something like crispy critters instead of like, you know, oh shit or something like that, which I'm not gonna say him saying crispy critters is a bad thing, but what I am saying is it's a little inconsistent when you're trying to be edgy. However, the reason it's not bad is because I have to give the dialogue a little bit of slack because it is translated from Russian, so some stuff probably sounds better in other languages. As for other mixed things, this story kind of falls short. I find alternate history stories to be interesting if a little played out, but seeing a story set in a reality where the Soviet Union have robots and other tech that go completely rogue is an interesting idea, but I feel like the story doesn't really go anywhere with that concept. I didn't hate the story, which is why it's only in the mixed, but all the twists and turns did not feel like twists or turns because of how predictable they are. In addition to the story being a little disappointing, I found the characters kind of disappointing too. The main character, P3, is kind of generic, and I honestly had to look up his name. Similarly, the robot voice connected to him, Charles I think his name was, while the banter between him and P3 was kind of entertaining, Charles isn't really that important for a good portion of the game. And then there's this other character named Xena who I would like, but the game is clearly trying to make her like a fan favorite, being like a wise-cracking, cynical old lady, but she's just fine. She's not in the game a whole lot. When she is, she's not terrible, but it's clear that they're trying to make her a fan favorite. Now moving on to the bad. Remember earlier when I said that there are some reasons why I wouldn't want to roam around the world? Well, that's because there are enemies everywhere. I'm not saying it's an issue to have you fight enemies, but when you are trying to get from point A to point B, these enemies that take a considerable amount of hits to kill will surround you, and there will be, no hyperbole, more than 10 enemies attacking you at once. And if you kill them, more enemies appear. So the main idea is to be stealthy, so you are supposed to avoid these enemies. But the problem is that they are everywhere. You could still run away from them as they attack you, but the problem is they attack you, you're still taking damage. And healing is a little slow, and you have to like go back to your inventory, which is only at a certain like save spot. You know, you can't just enter your inventory, which is another issue, but I just explained the issue right there. On top of that, the speed of the main character is incredibly slow. I don't even think there's a way to run. Okay, there is kind of a way to run, but it's more akin to a jog. In addition to being very slow, dodging is kind of frustrating. It's not as bad as the dodging mechanics in, say, Callisto Protocol, but again, it's slow. And this issue really came into play when I was fighting bosses. These bosses are just way faster than you, which is fine, you know, give me a bit of a challenge, but there were times where it just didn't feel right. But weirdly enough, even though I found the boss fights to be frustrating, most of them took me no more than 2 tries, sometimes even 1. So that's a little weird, but the only one that took me a while was this robot tentacle boss towards the end of the game, who, I kid you not, I was only able to beat him because the game glitched, and the boss just froze. I could not believe it when it happened. Some other issues that bothered me: you can't skip cutscenes. That's not entirely bad, you know, you see the story. But there will be a pretty long cutscene that leads into maybe like a boss fight, and if I die, it's pretty annoying to have to sit through the entire cutscene again. Also, the ending kind of sucks. It just, especially when you have a choice between a good ending or a bad ending. The bad ending, I think they meant a badly written ending. Either way, it's anticlimactic. As a whole, I didn't hate Atomic Heart. It nails the trippiness, the music slaps, the weapons are cool, and the game is absolutely stunning. However, the story and characters are disappointing, some of the boss fights are frustrating because of how slow you are, and the ending, which, yeah, I know I barely touched on it, but the ending really fucking sucks. And the amount of times that hordes of enemies just surround you is also obnoxious. But my opinion on Atomic Heart is, it's good, not great. There's a lot of untapped potential with this game. The alternate history idea about the Soviet Union is an interesting one, but the game doesn't really do it justice. My opinion on Atomic Heart is, while it was definitely good, it never really kicked into second gear. This game is free on Xbox Game Pass, so if you have that, I actually do recommend you check it out because it's free. But if your only option is spending $70 on this game, or $60, I'd recommend waiting for a sale. In the end, I'm going to give Atomic Heart a 7.5 out of 10. Once again, it's good, not great. It's kind of half-baked. So that was my review on Atomic Heart. It's a little disappointing, but I doubt it'll be my most disappointing game of the year by the end of the year. It is so far because we're only like 2 months into the year. But what do you guys think? I've seen some mixed reactions for this game online, so I know some of you aren't going to agree with me. I didn't hate the game. I gave it, I'd say a 7.5 is a decent score. I don't want to touch on the controversy for this game. I just wanted to play it and judge it on its own merits. Sound familiar? But yeah, anyways, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, or I will go rogue on you. Bye!